First story. Entitled Mom Demands I Quit Exercising Because It's Unfaithful for My Golden Child Brother, who bullied and fat-shamed me when we were little with her support, to look unattractive while I'm fit and handsome, then threatened to cancel my gym membership and forced me to eat only oily and sugary foods, so I cut ties with them and went NC. Hey everybody. It's been a few weeks since I posted my first crazy family story, so now's as good a time as any to share another one. Some backstory. My two brothers have always been naturally skinny and maintained an active lifestyle throughout most of their lives. Me 31M, on the other hand, was born on the pudgier side and never really had an interest in sports other than swimming. But I didn't get or want at the time to work on that hobby. By the time I was in the Army, service is mandatory where I live. I was quite heavy at 246 pounds. While I was never teased about my weight, my family, and especially my mother, enjoyed poking fun at it, my eating habits, and so on. Mom would roll her eyes whenever someone commented that I'd lost weight, and so on. Since she was, and still is, quite the blob herself, I just ignored her or commented as such. But, being stationed in a faraway base where combat units were also serving, most of the guys in my base were quite fit. On the other hand, I wasn't assigned a combative role due to a medical condition. No, it didn't have to do anything about weight, but a very minor birth defect that I was rid of by the time I was 12. But the Army is stupid like that, so they didn't want to take any chances to put me in harm's way. So, instead of putting me in a combative role, they decided to have me in the oh-so-safe field of heavy-duty machinery. Genius. Anyways, again, most of the men serving in my unit were very fit and very muscular. And while I was never jealous of them or teased for being fat, one day I just took a good look in the mirror and was like, I can do better. And so I decided to start and change things. I'd watch very carefully what I ate, drink mostly water, join the boys on their evening jogs, convince my sergeant friend to get me access to their gym, and have him train me in Krav Maga a few times a week if he was able to. I kept on to what I was doing and was very strict at keeping at it until I'd reached my target weight, and soon enough I had to pay a visit to the quartermasters and get a smaller-sized uniform. After a year and a half of regular exercise, weightlifting, and a healthy diet, I lost a lot of weight, a few pounds shy of the target, and built quite a lot of muscle mass. In all honesty, it was my sergeant friend who convinced me to visit officially. It was exclusive to the combat unit. But in reality, it was available for everyone on base, their gym, and encouraged me to lose weight. Man, am I glad I listened? While I was very proud of the progress I've made, my family, who have teased me about my big, fat arse for most of my life, weren't as happy as I was but said nothing. The teasing has stopped, but there wasn't much beyond that. Other than a semi-compliment like, "Did you take this shirt from one of your brothers?" Whenever I wore something that actually fit me, or, "Why are you still wearing this huge thing?" If I kept clothing from the time I was bigger. I still got comments during meals if I took an extra scoop. But whatever, I didn't care. I didn't lose weight to get compliments. Maybe I did, but just a little bit. Moving on, by the time I turned 22, I was back into civilian life as well as working myself through university and also having a part-time job. Also, during that time, I saved enough to afford a membership at a gym close to campus. They were on the pricey side, but that's due to the location being more high-end. While I was being the healthiest and most physically fit I've ever been my entire life, my older brother wasn't faring as well. He had stopped jogging, his smoking got worse, and he was getting chubbier every day. He's still not obese by any chance, but he's not nearly as fit as he used to be, and he's only in his late 30s. It only got worse at family gatherings, especially weddings, where a lot of distant relatives, and those we don't meet often, would also be present. Also, I'm a massive introvert, so fully packed events are not my thing, so I'd often avoid those and barely even meet with my extended family during my service. So you can imagine some of my relatives being shocked to see me over 100 pounds lighter. Some didn't even recognize me. I guess my brother got some comments from people because he'd no longer look smug whenever he looked at me. About 8 months into my membership there, my mom sat me down. I was still living at home, and the coverage went as follows. Me is me. BM is the womb I came out of. Ob, older bullocks. Me, what's up? Is everything okay? BM. Everything is fine, honey. But I just wanted to talk to you about something. Me, okay. I already had a bad feeling. These conversations always seem to be about me doing something wrong. BM. Well, you know your father, and I am very proud of how far you've come. You're looking very handsome. Me, thanks. Mom, a very rare compliment. BM. But me and Dad are a little worried. With all the expenses we have, along with your tuition, and not your gym membership, we're getting a little tight. Can you cancel your membership, please? We can no longer afford it. Me. Thinking, okay, here we go. Mom, you guys don't pay for my gym membership. I do. BM. And who gave you that money? Me. It's money I've saved from birthdays, allowances from way back when, and work. Also, I'm on a scholarship, so you do know you guys aren't paying for school either, right? BM. Getting furrowed well. You can't go to your gym anymore. Me. And why is that? BM. Because she and Dad think your ob should use it instead. He really wants to go to that gym, but he can't afford it. It really depresses him. Don't you think it's mean of you to keep going there while he cannot? Me, Mom, be real. Ob makes twice the money I make, so he can afford a gym membership on his own. That said, the gym isn't located anywhere near his apartment. BM. That doesn't matter. We decided that you can't go anymore. It's not fair towards Ob. You're going to cancel your membership, and that's final. Me, no. BM. Well, I will be giving them a call and canceling it for you impossible, unless she can imitate my voice and have my credit card. Stop being selfish and be more fair towards your brother. Me, right? BM. Why can't you just do this one thing for your brother? It's bad enough he stopped jogging. Now he's smoking, and you're not helping with what you're doing. Come on, my name. Be more considerate. Also, think about your father. Me. Dad has a problem with me working out too. BM. You know how he can barely move with his bad back. Mom and Dad can move just fine. Just yesterday, I helped him clear out the garage. He had his own gym membership, which he had to quit only recently due to COVID. BM. You're not being fair, my name. Me. Holding on to my last nerve, Mom. I'm not going to stop working out because some 30-plus man baby hates seeing me getting healthier while he tries tucking in his beer gut. If my looser genes affect Ob so much, he can get up and do something about it. Funny how you've never said anything to either of my brothers to tone it down while I was fat. BM. How dare you say that about your brother? At that point, I just got up and went on with my business while she sulked and gave me the cold shoulder for the rest of the day. However, during meal times, she tried to get me to eat a lot more or cook very fatty things, buy only sugar-packed drinks, bring up fast food places whenever we went eating out, and then get mad at me whenever I said that McDonald's is not a restaurant. Whatever she tried to do didn't work, and I soon began buying my own type of soft drink, or just drinking more water, if I drank anything that wasn't either sugar-free or on a diet. Now, even though my dad supported Ob, he didn't say much, and I have no idea why she even brought him up. Anyway, that's my tale. I've lived with them for 4 more years, until I've saved enough to move out in 2015. After that, some things happened that led me to cut all contact with the 3 of them. Stay safe out there. OP made a post on his family. The older brother said he needed rent money, but just wanted to pay for his vacation. First, I'm 31M, the middle child of 3. I have 2 brothers, one younger 25 years old and one older 38 years old. My brothers and I have never been close, and I was often overlooked by my parents and most relatives compared to them. Not really relevant to the story, but just to draw a picture. About 3 years ago, I was approached by my parents and older brother for a loan to help him pay rent. Me and my sibling have never been close, and after moving out around late 2015, I was already pretty distant with them by that point due to many years of bullshit. But that's an entire series of stories. However, I was led to believe that my brother was in a really bad financial situation, and that he wasn't able to afford his rent. Back then, I knew he had recently gotten back to pursuing an academic degree, while still working a SHTTY job, so it made sense. I agreed to give them the money, but I made it clear it was a loan, and I would need that money back. All 3 agreed, and my parents even said that they would pay me back in a few weeks. They both had high-paying jobs, so I didn't have any reason to be suspicious. So I wrote my brother a check, stating that the very specific amount of money was to help pay for 3 months of rent. About $2,500. A few weeks went by, and I decided to just be patient and considerate toward my brother, knowing his financial situation wasn't the best. However, a few weeks became a month, and then 2. Yet there's been no word from my brother or my parents. I reached out but was told to be patient, and my mom even had the audacity to call me a psycho. It's a common thing she did whenever she was being confronted by people. Being relatively clueless about legal stuff back then, I gave up and decided to move on. However, a couple of weeks later, I get contacted by one of my cousins, who tells me how amazing I am for paying for my brother's vacation with my cousin's sister. She told me they'd been planning on going for months, and he was the only one who had trouble affording a ticket. Here's how the conversation went. Me, C cousin, Ob older brother, and CS cousin's sister. Me, C, what trip? They've been planning on going abroad for months now. But Ob was the only one who couldn't afford it. Me, wait, what? He didn't tell you. Me, he told me he needed money to cover rent. I don't understand. I then told her I had to go. So that's where the conversation ended. Next, I immediately called my brother up, demanding to know what was going on. He basically laughed in my face and thanked me for paying for his vacation. When I told him that I was asking him to pay me back, he then told me to go F myself before blocking my number as well as on Facebook. I was furious. The next day at work, I decided to ask around friends in our legal team. They referred me to a really good lawyer who even agreed to represent me for a lower price than what he usually charges. I asked him to wait because I needed to compile a few things first. First, I've gathered all phone recordings, screenshots of every text concerning the loan and what it was intended for, pictures from his trip. Had his girlfriend, she didn't go on the trip, email me the receipts of both hotel room and plane ticket, as well as texts from him regarding how much spending money he left with. Getting written a statement from his landlord that Ob never had trouble paying rent. Note: GF had no idea what was going on. But we get along quite well, so she agreed to help. In my country, it is legal to record people and phone calls, as long as you are part of the conversation. I decided to give my brother one final chance before taking him to court. I then texted my dad, remember, Ob has me blocked, asking him to have my brother call me and pay back the loan. Otherwise, I'm taking him to court. Dad got nervous and handed the phone to my mom, who flipped out after I told her what I'm planning on doing. She stuck to the psycho remarks, as well as going for the, but we're a family, dick, as well as, can't you just do one thing for your brother? And, when did your brother ever ask you for anything? Which is when I ran the oh so long list in my head of when my brother did ask, demanded, and took me for things. I finished the call, telling him Ob better contact me today, and hung up. Not even an hour later, my brother calls me screaming, calling me every name in the book, threatening to beat me up, to sue me for harassing his girlfriend, stalking him, and so on and so on. I once again told him to pay me back for everything. Otherwise, I'd be seeing him in court. Ob told me to go F myself and to watch my back before he hung up. Yes, this call has also been recorded. After a few weeks, we meet up in court. My brother's lawyer attempts a dismissal, all while he and my brother are trying to portray me as only doing this for attention. I get questioned by both lawyers. Evidence is presented. The judge looks less and less happy with my family. And mom keeps telling me how ashamed I should be for doing this to my family. The judge ruled in my favor, as my brother not only had no evidence, but had also lied in his testimony. I was to be paid the full amount of the check as well as court fees. After that, I've gone out of contact with both my parents and older brother, and changed my phone number and address. Me and my younger brother still talk, but we have very minimal contact. Most of my relatives took my parents' side, saying I shouldn't have taken them to court, and it was cruel. My grandparents on both sides, to my surprise, said I've done the right thing, and my mom's sister, my favorite aunt, has also taken my side. I haven't spoken to any of them for over 3 years. Mom and dad have tried contacting me before I switched numbers, but it's never to apologize other than guilt-tripping me about the whole thing. Second story. My wife is supporting a cheater who cheated on my best friend, married him only to hide her identity as gay while sleeping with women, and then had the audacity to cry at his funeral, acting like a perfect, loving wife. Now I saw her in my house with my wife, so I lashed out at her. But my wife took her side and moved in with her, so I filed for divorce, and that's how I lost everyone. My 32M marriage with my wife, Mary 31F, feels like it's unraveling at the seams. I just have so much anger, disgust, and resentment inside me to the point that regular, everyday living feels impossible. I want to scream all the time, and it feels like I'll never be my carefree self again. Yes, I'm in therapy and have told my wife I really think we need couples marriage counseling too. She's thinking about it. This is long, so if you can be bothered to read it, buckle in. My best friend, Ben, was my ride or die. We met when we were 5 and have been inseparable since then. We were there for each other during all of life's big moments and turns. His place turned into my second home when my parents went through their explosive divorce when I was 11. I was there for him and mourned with him when his younger sister died of cancer when we were 15, and she was only 10. You name it, we worked through it. He was the only one to not freak out on me when I decided to drop out of college to pursue a trade. There was never a moment where either of us was worried about the other's reaction, or what they'd say or think. Ben was the type of guy people knew could make anyone feel better, regardless of the situation. He always knew what to say and what you needed, even if you didn't agree at the time. He's the best person I've ever had the privilege of meeting, and the world was a better place with him in it. I unfortunately know I have to put this in here. No, Ben and I were never in love with each other like that. We were really close, best friends or brothers. Ben met his wife, Sally, in his junior year of college, and I knew Sally was going to be the greatest love of his life. She was so open, warm, and adventurous. Like Ben, she had a smile that lit up the whole room and effortlessly made everyone feel like her best friend. Everyone, including myself, looked at them as that perfect couple everyone knows. They got married 2 years into dating. Ben always told me how excited he was to love, hold, and protect her forever. All the ways he wanted to make her happy. He showed his love for her every day in his words and actions. I was so happy for him because I thought she did the same. I helped her plan his surprise 30th birthday party, where he was reduced to tears upon seeing. She spent hours making him a Mario Kart Rainbow Road-themed cake. They talked about children, holidays, rescuing animals, and growing their own fruits and vegetables. Sally quickly became a sister to me, and became very close friends with Mary. The four of us went on countless holidays, helped each other through life's challenges, went on at least one double date a fortnight, etc. About 5 months ago, I woke up to 5 missed calls from Ben between the hours of 11 p.m. and 2 a.m. the night before, and I just had a feeling something really bad had happened. I called out of work and drove straight to his place. Sally had been cheating on Ben for pretty much their entire relationship. When I confronted her and asked how she could do such a thing, and why get married in the first place if you're going to cheat the entire time, she broke down and told me it was more like living a double life. Sally was, or is, gay. She'd known since she was a teenager, but never felt like she could come out because of her conservative family. She met Ben, fell in love with him, and counted on her feelings for women just somehow going away. She said she genuinely loved him as a person and life partner, but that secret part of her only grew stronger and louder over the years. She casually dated and hooked up with women, telling Ben she was hanging out with friends from her hobbies or friend groups. He only found out the night he'd called me because one of the women Sally was seeing wanted to take their relationship further and freaked out when Sally broke up with her instead. This woman showed up to their house late at night and told Ben everything. Ben was absolutely shattered. He gave everything to Sally and loved her wholeheartedly, and it wasn't even with a real her. She claimed to love him, but I can't help but think she was using him. She lied to everyone. Let us think she loved and adored Ben as much as he loved her. Also that she could have her cake and eat it too. I was quick to tell Ben he deserved better, but Sally apparently begged on her hands and knees. I told him she really did love him, and that she was willing to do anything to make it better. She would never talk to any women ever again. They could move somewhere new and start fresh, all that bullcrap. Ben fell into a deep depression because he realized he never knew the real Sally. But he did really love her. He agonized over what to do until he got hit by a drunk driver while out on a late-night walk 2 months ago. I won't go into how it felt to lose him. I'm sure you can all imagine. It was made worse by having that bee cry at his funeral, crying like he really was the love of his life, and she was the perfect wife. It was the first time in my life I ever wanted to hit someone. I couldn't believe the audacity she had to show her face around Ben's loved ones, especially the ones who knew the truth. Mary knows how I feel about Sally, and I thought she understood that Sally was dead to us. I know I can't dictate who a person should or can be friends with. But if I had a mutual friend with Mary that shattered her as much as Sally did to me, I'd cut them off with no question. I can't be friends with someone who hurts my loved ones like that. About 2 weeks ago, I came home from a work trip early, and Mary was consoling Sally in our living room. I lost my SHT. She asked them if they were having an affair and screamed to the point of crying. I asked Mary how she could have Sally in the living room, where we have a photo of Ben hanging on the wall. Sally tried to apologize to me, and here's where I was probably ta. I looked at her crying face, and it was like a switch flipped in me. I immediately stopped crying and yelling, and I just looked at her and said, "The biggest injustice here is that you're here while Ben is on the ground. If the world were fair, I'd be able to press a button to swap your places, and I'd do that in a heartbeat. You might be able to trick my wife into feeling sorry for you, but you're dead to me. I see what you really are, and you're trash. You tricked Ben into falling in love with you, so you could pretend to be mommy and daddy's good little straight girl, while effing whoever you wanted on the side. I can't even fathom or quantify your selfishness. If I woke up tomorrow and I was you, I'd never get out of bed again. Mary says I was cruel, and I guess I was, but it was my truth. Apparently, Sally hasn't left her house since that confrontation. It's to the point where she's lost her job because she's not going into the office. The thing is, I don't feel bad about it. I think it's the least she could do, and I hope she continues to not exist in my world. Mary knows I feel this way, but she still goes to Sally's place to bring her meals and help clean up the place. It honestly disgusts me. We've had many explosive arguments about it, and for the first time in our marriage, I feel like we might not recover from this. We both feel like we've seen a new side of each other, and we don't know if we'll be able to move past it. I write this here because we've kept this situation to ourselves. Other people in our lives know something is up, but have been too afraid to ask. I guess I want other people's opinions on my thoughts and feelings on this matter, even if everyone thinks I'm the arsehole. TLDR. My best friend's wife was cheating on him their whole relationship and married him to hide being gay. He died, and I hate his wife to bits. I was brutally honest with her about how I feel about her when I found out my wife is still friends with her and brings her to our house when I'm not home. My wife and I are arguing because a friend's wife is now depressed from my reaction to her being at our house. My wife thinks I'm being cruel. I'm disgusted that my wife can be friends with trash like that. Update. Thank you to everyone who commented on my first post a week ago. It's been such a messed up situation, and my feelings have been all over the place. So it really lifted a weight off my shoulders to see people could understand why I felt and acted the way I did. A further thank you to the people who reached out to me and shared their experiences of losing a best friend. I'm sorry you guys lost your best friends too. It's like a sledgehammer to the chest that won't dislodge itself. On to the update. It's only been a week, but it's felt like forever. Mary couldn't handle the fights and disagreements anymore and packed her bags the day after my post. I knew this was probably for the best, and didn't have it in me to argue or fight for her to stay. I just asked, "Are you going to Sally?" To which she just sighed and shook her head at me before leaving. Her eyes had nothing but exhaustion and disdain inside. And to be fair, I'm sure mine were the same. The town I live in isn't that big, so I've had a few friends reach out to me and say that they saw Mary at Sally's place, or that the two were grocery shopping together. I wake up every day to an empty house, knowing Mary is at Sally's, looking after her, asking if she's okay, cooking her meals, cleaning her house. She hasn't called or texted me at all, other than to answer my call last night with "I'm not going to talk to you until you apologize to Sally," and hang up when I try to explain myself. I know I'd be lying if I said I felt bad for what I said to Sally at all. There's no point in hollow apologies, and I especially don't think there's a point if there's nothing left to fix in my marriage. Mary has made it clear where her loyalties and priorities lie. I just don't understand how she can go from holding me, while I cried in her arms, to choosing Sally over me and ignoring me. My therapist is advising me to let myself just feel my feelings and process before making any big life choices, and she's probably right. But I've lost all respect for Mary. I never would have thought she'd betray me this way. I lied awake last night when I suddenly had the thought. What if Mary came back on her hands and knees, begging and apologizing? What if she gave me the best apology she could possibly give me for this situation? What would it change? It breaks my heart, but deep down, I feel like it wouldn't change anything. There are some things that can't be forgiven. There were a few comments and DMs asking if Mary and Sally could be having an affair, or if Mary knew about Sally before everything exploded. These questions did keep me up when all of this started going down, but now I can't bring myself to care. My life doesn't make any sense anymore, so another cluster F detail wouldn't really change much in the grand scheme of things. I've drafted a text that could be the last text I send to Mary, and it goes as follows. Mary, your priorities and loyalties in this situation have been made very clear to me. I don't know if you want to try to save our marriage and the life we've built together, but at this point, I don't think there's anything left of it to save. You abandoned me during what I can only hope is the worst time of my life. You've invalidated my grief and anger for what? The woman who's been lying to us and betraying us for years. The woman who used and strung Ben along for years. I don't recognize you right now. It's like I went to bed in a world that made sense one night and woke up in a nightmare. I think the only way forward here is for us to get lawyers and communicate through lawyers. I will not be leaving my house. If you want to collect your things, please let me know so I can arrange that with them. I can't believe this is happening. I never thought this would be what we've become, but choices have been made. I've been reading and redrafting this message over and over again for hours. Sometimes, it breaks my heart, and other times it's like I'm an outsider watching myself in a bad movie. The worst thing is, I don't even know if Mary will care about it. I guess I'll let you guys know if I send it. I know this can't go on forever. TLDR. Mary left the house to pretty much go look after Sally at her place full time. I have a really strong feeling we're going to end up divorcing. The damage is done. Third story. OP offered to pay for Sil and her family's vacation, but entitled Sil to a more expensive one and accused him of mistreating them. So, OP canceled their vacation, which caused Sil's kids to get furious, and Sil blames OP. I travel a lot for work, so I have so many hotel and airline points that it is crazy. This summer, I am taking my family to Disney World. We are going to stay at one of the resorts on the property. My sister-in-law and her family had a hard time during the pandemic, so I decided to do something nice and invite them along. My treat. I said I would pay for their flights, hotel, and park tickets. Everyone was excited until she started talking to my wife. Now she is upset that we are staying at one of the resorts, and they have to stay in Disney Springs. Apparently, I'm being cheap by using points for their hotel, instead of just paying for them to stay at the same resort as us. My wife told her sister and brother-in-law to STFU and accept the gift, but they didn't. They told my in-laws that I was making their kids jealous by not letting them enjoy the same stuff as us. To be clear, the hotel I booked for them is very nice. It's just not the Grand Floridian. So I finally talked to them and gave them the choice of accepting my gift or not coming since I could still cancel their reservations. They started yelling at me for being an arsehole and taking something away from their children. I had talked to them like adults, but when they started screaming, their kids heard them and found out that they might not be going. Now their kids are pissed at their parents for possibly screwing up their vacation. And I'm the bigger arsehole for making them look bad in front of their kids. AITA. Comments. Empty_comfort_14,513. Let me get this straight. You're gifting them airline tickets, park tickets, and a nice hotel, and they demand more. Cancel their tickets. Immediately. For their benefit too, they drop this entitled idiocy forever. So the kids learn you get nothing if you're being an arse. So they don't try to walk all over you in the future. NTA. That'd be them. Poor kids. Heck, I'll take this amazing gift with endless gratitude. Disney Springs got 4.85 out 5 stars. I'll be so happy and grateful if anyone does this for me. Gah. Stoniel. Definitely a are-choosing beggars situation. OP should take the kids and leave the ungrateful Sil and Bill behind. Dr. Strange MD. NTA obviously. So here's what I would do. I would price out in cash what it would cost for what you were giving them. I would write an email to your wife, your Sil Bill, and your in-laws. State the facts. You recognized how difficult things had been for them, and that you wanted to do something nice. What you offered. With a price breakdown. State that you are offended, that they would not be appreciative of the gift. They can accept the current gift as is. You recognize that this was an emotional reaction on their part, but you feel you deserve an apology for their reaction. You recognize that this is all stressful, and their reaction was not meant to come off as ungrateful, but that is how you are receiving it. And your feelings are hurt, but you would be happy to move forward. You will gladly remove the hotel, and they can book the Grand Floridian with the prices listed. On their own dime. And you still want an apology. If they find options 1 and 2 unacceptable, then you will rescind the gift offer. We apologize for giving them a gift, and the matter will be closed. Delete it. Rescind the offer, but take the kids. I feel bad they'll have to pay for their parents' hospital. Edit. Okay, scratch that. I feel bad for the kid, but so many people have made the case that it will either create more drama or set an expectation in the minds of the entitled in-laws that from now on you should be taking their children on vacation with yours. It's too bad that they couldn't just accept your generous gift. Meadow_chef. Your Sil could have chosen this route. Your uncle is just amazing and is offering us this unforgettable trip. We will be staying at a different location, but doing all of the parks and activities together. This will give us a chance to spend some time with just us as a family too. Aren't we lucky to have such generous people in our family? We are really so blessed. But alas. Wah. I want more. Edit. Yowza. An award. Thanks so much, Sageophonics. Based on what the OP wrote, it seems the kids did know how lucky they were and are pissed at their parents for potentially messing this up. It is sad that the kids are more mature than their parents. Judgment. NTA. Update. 1 year later. Last year, I thought I would do a nice thing and take my sister-in-law and her family to Disney World with my family. It turned into a SHT show because I didn't put them up at the same resort that my family stayed at. We stayed at the Grand Floridian, and I put them up at a very nice hotel in Disney Springs. I also paid for their flights, park tickets, and some meals. COVID was hard on them, and I thought I was doing something nice. They went AITAH because I didn't let them stay with us. Anyway, this year we are going to Los Angeles to do all the touristy stuff there. There are only 2 days at Disneyland, but it is a much smaller park. We are doing a bunch of other stuff. Our kids love their cousins and wanted them along. I talked to my wife, and we agreed to bring just the kids. I did not want a repeat of last year. We talked to her sister and her husband, and we asked if we could bring the kids with us. And it was a SHT show. They wanted to know why they weren't invited. So I said that they were of course welcome to join us, but that I would not be paying for anything for them. They had to pay for their own flights, their own hotel, their own food, and their own everything. That wasn't acceptable to them. They wanted to go on vacation together as a family. I asked them what they had planned for their vacation this summer. They had no plans to go anywhere. They only want a family vacation if my wife and I pay. We were smart enough not to talk to them in front of their kids. And our kids were told explicitly not to tell their cousins they might get to come with us. So we withdrew the offer and told our kids that their cousins would not be joining us. They were disappointed, but they understood. My in-laws are pissed that we tried to give their kids a cool experience without them. I thought that we were just doing something nice and avoiding the issue of having the kids at different hotels. I am very sure that I'm not wrong. But a few people said I was an arsehole last time I asked. So I thought I would check to see if I'm missing something. Comments. Apprehensive_Pi40940. NTA. Your in-laws are choosing beggars. It's a nice gesture to want to take their kids. But what nonsense is it that they want to also go without paying their way? They are ruining things for their own kids. Whichever flying monkeys are calling you an are the same people who would never offer the same. They can go pound sand. Bill and Sil are pathetic. OP. Nobody besides them is bugging us. Apprehensive_Pi40940. Oh, because you said. A few people said I was an arsehole last time I asked. So that's why I said they should go pounding sand. OPO. Yeah. This time around, I tried to deal with everything privately. No_lavishness_3206. NTA. I went and read your last post. Those people are leeches, and you don't owe them anything. Go enjoy your vacation with your kids. It's their own fault. Their kids won't get a cool experience. OP. I'm going to stop trying completely. Seriously. This is just ridiculous. Ridding is freedom. They nuke the bridge, so it can't be rebuilt. White prison. And now he is vaping on the fumes. OK Entertainment 1 in 123. I was just wondering how much of a step down a very nice hotel in Disney Springs is from the Grand Floridian. Regardless, the road to an SHT show is paved with seemingly good intentions. OP. The hotel in Disney Springs is $450 a night. They have character breakfasts. They have early access to the parks. And a shuttle. Creative and Music 5 in 121 is heavily downvoted. I am loath to give any judgment, just because I think giving your relatives a paid vacation was nice. But I do see their point. I understand that you didn't want to, maybe couldn't afford pay for them to stay at the Grand Floridian with you. But it was kind of rude to have them join you on vacation, but then do the separate accommodations. You could have stayed with them at the less expensive property, or found a different one priced in between for you all to stay together. You think you were being generous, and you were. But at the same time, you let them know that you don't think they are on your level. By now inviting the kids and not the adults, you reinforce that notion. OP. You feel that spending close to $8,000 on them wasn't enough, and I should have spent another $6,000. Thank you for watching the video. If you are interested in listening to these kinds of stories, we've got more in store for you. Simply subscribe to our channel, hit the like button, and share it with your friends.